Hello everyone, welcome back to A Life Learned. Today I want to share a little revelation, I guess, or realization that I had yesterday. It's just sort of thinking about someone I know who I consider probably one of the happiest people that I know. She just successfully manages to always seem really happy and like really pleasant with everyone she interacts with, and she always laughs and finds the positive in things. And I shouldn't say always, she's human, like she's had her moments, but at the same time, I just, if I think of someone being happy more often than not, it's her. And I was reflecting on how her brother told me that there was a period he felt like she sort of decided she wasn't going to be sad anymore. And she says she feels she's grown out of this, and she now, like, has her moments and she lets herself experience emotions. But I just kind of reflected on the idea of deciding that you're not going to be sad anymore. And in one sense, it feels very fake because we all have emotions. We all have sadness and disappointment, and you have to acknowledge them when they happen, or they're going to get more intense and complicated if you don't just address them when they happen. But I started to think about it, and it made me realize that I'm in many ways afraid to be happy, and with that, in many ways, I don't let myself be happy. Now, right now, my life is really quite difficult. There's just a lot of waiting going on in terms of my court process that keeps getting delayed, and so that is quite difficult, and it makes me very depressed, and I've been through some pretty dark times recently because of it. But feeling somewhat like, even though it's not over, I kind of feel like I'm coming out the other side of this darkness and realizing, despite some of the nihilist ideas that I've been dealing with, that, well, as I've said in past things, I really am attaching myself to the idea that this philosopher came up with this idea that the purpose of life is basically just whatever you choose to do that makes you not want to kill yourself. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, we all make our own purpose. And in that sense, looking for a purpose is almost silly. I mean, you want to have a purpose, but at the same time, life is about more than just having a purpose. There's a lot to life. And you don't really have a choice that you're here, so you might as well just live and make the best of it that you can and try to help humanity advance and stuff like that. These are the ideas I live by, anyways, and sort of coming back to them and realizing that I still believe in them. I've also realized that I've spent a lot of my life up until now really not letting myself be happy. Whenever happy moments come, I'll get grumpy, I'll get reserved, I'll get withheld and unpleasant. I don't quite know how to describe it on the spot, but just not the greatest. I won't be embracing the happiness, to say the least. And sometimes I do. If I've got a few drinks in me, that helps. But um, in a lot of moments, like particularly with my spouse, he'll be like really happy to see me, and my first thought will be to shove the happiness that I feel in return. And I realize that it's all because I'm afraid to have it taken away. It's in the same way that it's easier to just self-harm and to self-loathe because everyone's going to hate you anyway, so why not just get along with that party and work with them to hate yourself instead of fighting them to say that you're good. I feel or have felt that it's easier to just be miserable, stay sad, stay upset, or unhappy in whatever way, rather than letting the happiness in and feeling it and embracing it, because it just hurts so much to have it taken away, to finally feel like, oh, I'm happy, and then to just have it ripped away from you. And I know you guys know what I mean, because we all go through this. Someone, something, bullies, parents making mistakes, society, something. We've all had our happiness ripped away from us at times, and it just hurts so much. It hurts so much. And I've come to realize that I have a fear built up around having that ripped away from me, to the point that I will choose to shove happiness and to shove happy feelings and to not embrace them and to resist them even, so as to not have to experience having them ripped away from me, which is just so depriving all in itself. in some ways, happiness still forces its way in. I still giggle sometimes when I don't want to, and I still smile sometimes when I don't want to. But I don't want to not want to anymore. I realize that my life is hard, and, it's expected to get better, but there's always going to be hard times, and there's always going to be struggles, because that's life. And if I don't let myself be happy in the moments that happiness does come, it's just not going to be. It's just going to be misery. I'm going to be depressed more often, and constantly wondering what the point of life is, because I'm not really letting myself enjoy some of the best parts of it, the happy parts, right? I'm not letting myself enjoy the love of other people and the passion of other people. And in a similar, actually related note, I found that I had a hard time letting people empathize with me and reach out to help me, or I had a hard time reaching out for help, even though I'm really passionate about helping other people and that's all I want to do with my life. I have a hard time receiving help because I have guilt around not deserving it or something like that. And I think it's very similar with happiness, where there's like, I'm both terrified to have it ripped away, and I'm also guilty that I somehow don't deserve it as well. So yeah, it's a lot of issues related to being content with myself and my life, and stability financially and emotionally are pretty big factors in happiness. So I'm still working on those. They're not exactly stable yet, but you also have to allow yourself to be happy in order for it to ever happen, right? You can't get help unless you want to be helped. You can't be happy unless you want to be happy. You can't force those things on people. And I'm realizing that. And I'm realizing that I'm really, really afraid to embrace positivity. And I'm realizing in all of that I really should. I should let myself experience the happiness that life can bring more. Because even though it hurts when those moments are taken away or when they fade, they come again. They always come again if you let them. It's about letting them. So I guess I just wanted to share this with you guys because it's a bit of a big moment for me, a big revelation, realization, or what have you. And I thought, maybe you guys might be able to reflect on it. And if you have any issues with letting yourself seek help because you're guilty that you don't deserve it, or afraid of it being taken away from you, or in the same with happiness, if you're guilty that you don't deserve it, ashamed that some reason you don't deserve it, or you just are afraid to have it taken away, I empathize so much with you, but I couldn't insist more that you're making a mistake letting that fear dictate what you do. You should really let yourself feel happiness and find people who help you embrace that feeling and feel it more often, because people like that do exist in the world. You just gotta look for them and keep the hurtful, hateful people that can't seem to get a grasp on their own problems out of your life. I don't believe in abandoning people, but I also don't believe in letting people bring you down. So that's what's really important. You gotta find the right boundary there. And ultimately, I guess the message here is I'm letting myself be happy, finally, or I'm gonna work on that now. And I really believe that you guys should let yourself be happy too. I hope you do. And if you feel you struggle with this subject, please feel free to comment below about how you struggle with it, or tips you might have on how to work on it, or anything at all. Just feel free to comment below and share in this, because I think feel that this is a big issue for a lot of people, and we all deserve to be happy. So let's share in this subject and try to help each other in achieving that. And as always, please do join me again next week, where I try again to share a little something I've learned in life.